Hello and welcome back to another Tableau Tip Tuesday, the series where we shine a light on some of Tableau's more obscure functionality. From beginner to expert, it doesn't matter for this series, so join us every Tuesday for another tip to take your skills to a new level. Today we're going to be going over Viz in Tooltip. Many people don't understand that you can place an entire chart inside of the tooltip of another chart. This is great for hierarchical analysis as well as a space-saving technique for busy dashboards. We're going to go over a couple of analytical examples as well as a more fun example at the end, which isn't necessarily too analytical. So let's get to work here. So in our first tab here, we're presented with a bar chart, just category over sales. And essentially what we want to do is we want to see each individual item that is sold per category. So I have a scatter plot made up already on a different chart. We have product name on detail, sales and profit on our structure shelf. And now we're just going to insert this view into this sheet right here with just a couple of clicks. So if I click on my tooltip button, I'm going to clear out this information just so we have a blank slate here. We're going to go to our insert menu and we're going to insert the sheet scatter plot of items. Now if I make this a little bit bigger here, we can see that there are 4 separate areas that we have to play with here. The first is the sheet name that is called. The second is the width of that chart. The third is the height of that chart. And the fourth is actually whether or not we actively filter. Now by default you can see all fields in there, which means it is going to filter based on wherever my mouse selection is. Now we can use that to our advantage by either changing what is being filtered or by removing it entirely. So let's see one example where we want to remove it entirely. So we come over here to this unfiltered crosstab sheet and we can see a simple bar chart here. And essentially we want to find a way to cater to our numbers guys. That is the people that prefer to look at raw numbers while still not getting newer workers to prefer those raw numbers. So if we just take this sheet right here, we can right click down on our taskbar and duplicate it as a crosstab, which just gives us the same results in a crosstab form. Now we're going to stick this crosstab into the tooltip so you still have your raw numbers to check, but hopefully we can all agree that the length of a bar is easier to discern values than just looking at raw numbers. I'll put it a second way. If I asked all of you guys to find the highest and lowest value, I'm sure you could on both, but hopefully we can agree that finding it as a bar length is going to be easier than trying to pick out which number is the smallest over here. Alright, so let's go into our tooltip here. We're going to delete this information again, and we are just going to insert that sheet into this tooltip. Now for this instance, we do not want to filter it to our mouse selection right here. So we're going to remove this all filters right here. Now we have a quotation mark, a open caret, then it says all fields, a close caret, and a quotation marks. We want to keep both the carets and both the quotation marks. All that we are deleting is the words all fields. So we'll delete that on out of there. We're probably going to have to come in here to change how large that tooltip displays, but for now let's just check out the results that we have. So we hover over a bar and there you can see that we're starting to get a crosstab in there, but down at the bottom of that tooltip it says view is too large to show. So we can amend that quite easily just by selecting our tooltip, and let's go ahead and we'll increase the size from 300 pixels to 450 and we'll see where that gets us. There we go, we have that entire text table in there, but when we're on the dashboard we can represent it as a bar chart and just leave our text table in the tooltip for reference. Alright, let's see another example where we do want to see that filtered right here. So we have just subcategory sales view right here, and essentially what we want to do is when we hover over this bar, we want to see a time series of how that particular item is doing over time. So I'm going to come over here to a new sheet, and I wouldn't ever recommend making this sheet stand alone here, but let's go ahead and take a look here. So we're going to go with a continuous month and sales, and now we're just going to put that subcategory right onto color here. Now I think we can all agree that this is an ugly looking chart that's very difficult to have any analytical value based on how sloppy it is. But if we come back to our previous sheet, our goal here is to insert that sheet 6 into our tooltip. So we'll go ahead and insert sheet number 6. I'm going to preemptively make this a little bit wider just because it is a time series here. And now we'll go ahead and press OK. And now we have that snapshot of how accessories is doing overall. And when we hover over the bar, we can get that tooltip right here. Now, one thing I do want to show you, because I always get asked the question, can you have a viz in a viz in a viz in a tooltip? And the answer is no. If we put both of these sheets on a dashboard, you can see that it is just actively filtering the other sheet and bringing back a flat image for my tooltip. So you cannot interact with this tooltip at all because it is simply actively filtering the other sheet. Alright, so let's take a look at a more fun example here. We're going to make a 1x1 scatter plot, and we're going to put a custom background image in this. Now, if you want to see a slower version of how to do this, go ahead and check out the background image video on our YouTube channel. So for now, I'm going to make a small calculation. We're just going to call it X here, and it's going to be called a minimum of 1. That's all there is to it. It will be a continuous field that just says 1 repeatedly for as many rows as you have in your data set. We're going to duplicate this field right here, and we're going to call the other one Y. So now if I put both of these on my structure shelf here, you can see that we just have a scatter plot. Now it adds a 0 to 2 just to give it a little bit of a buffer, but my fields only go from 1 to 1. So now we want an image to appear in the background here. So if we go up to our map menu, background images, and tie a image to this sheet, we can go ahead and add an image, browse for it. Now I've seen a whole bunch of cool ideas for this, such as organizational charts or phone numbers of people that you call if you have a problem with the dashboard, to pictures of heavy machineries that goes along with a particular line or production line or something of that nature. So now we need to make sure that our X is tied to our X location, our Y is tied to our Y location, our upper bounds is 1, and we just press OK. And now you can see that we have that image in there. Now we could do some further work to edit this axis and maybe fix it from 0 to 1 so that it's not, or so that it's centered and blown up like that. And now that's left to do is simply place it into the tooltip of another sheet. And now right at a glance you can see that image in there and use it for whatever reference needs that you need. Alright, that's all we have for you today. Come back next week for another tip.